Hello, Alabama fans. Before the Iron Bowl game, there's speculation involving DeBoer. Even he probably doesn't know or imagine it. Let's look at this news calmly. The Iron Bowl isn't just a game. It's a story that renews itself every year, like a chapter in a never-ending story. It's where memories are made, mythologies are built, and the hearts of millions of fans beat in unison for 4 quarters that often seem to last an eternity. And this Saturday, when Alabama faces Auburn, another page will be written in this rivalry as rich as it is intense. The question hanging in the air, however, goes beyond the score or the performance within the white lines of the field. Kalen DeBoer, the Crimson Tide coach, is being watched with increased attention. He may be focused on the current season, but speculation about his future has already begun to gain momentum. There's no doubt that DeBoer has been a solid choice to lead Alabama after the Nick Saban era. No simple task, especially considering the magnitude of the legacy left by the coach who transformed Tuscaloosa into a synonym for excellence in college football. DeBoer arrived at the program promising stability and a modern mindset, and so far he has delivered on his part of the deal. The 9-2 record this season, including a crushing 56-0 victory against the Eastern Illinois Panthers, proves that Alabama remains the Bama. But college football, like any other industry, is driven by rumors and possibilities. And at this moment, DeBoer's name is closely linked to the head coaching position at Penn State. The firing of James Franklin opened a window of opportunity for the Nittany Lions to rethink their identity on the national stage. For years, Franklin struggled to achieve consistency against elite opponents, something that State College fans hope will be remedied by whoever comes next. Among the names speculated, DeBoer emerges as a central figure. His profile, adaptable, strategic, and with diverse experience in different programs, makes him a logical choice to try and reclaim Penn State's lost glory. The odds point to that, even though he's still committed to Alabama. But let's return to the present, because what matters now is the Iron Bowl. This matchup isn't just a regular season game. It's a ritual. It's where individual and collective stories collide, creating moments that echo for decades. Punt, Bama, punt, kick six, cam back. These names aren't just milestones. They're symbols of a rivalry that transcends sports. For the players who will take the field this weekend, the pressure is palpable. They know their performances could be remembered for generations. For DeBoer, this game takes on extra weight, not only because he needs to keep the team focused amidst the speculation, but also because the outcome could directly influence how his career will be evaluated by critics and Alabama fans themselves. It's impossible to separate DeBoer's immediate success from the larger context in which he was placed. He took over a program steeped in tradition, but also carrying enormous expectations. The post-Saban transition was handled carefully, and the multi-million-dollar contract offered to DeBoer reflects this. With annual compensation nearing $10 million and scheduled increases until 2031, Alabama is investing heavily to ensure that the standard of excellence remains intact. However, college football is volatile, and loyalty often takes a back seat when great opportunities arise. If DeBoer decided to accept Penn State's offer, it would be understandable, but not without consequences. For Alabama, losing a coach so soon after Saban's departure would be seen as a hard blow, both emotionally and strategically. Meanwhile, Auburn arrives at the Iron Bowl with an inferior record, but that hardly matters. This is the kind of game where anything can happen, where emotion trumps logic, and where the unexpected is always possible. The Tigers may be struggling to find consistency this season, but they have something no other Alabama opponent possesses: the weight of rivalry. This is enough to level the playing field and make the game unpredictable. For Alabama fans, this is a crucial moment. They want to see their team dominate, of course, but they also want signs that the future is in good hands. If DeBoer can lead the Crimson Tide to a convincing victory this Saturday, he will not only strengthen his position in the program, but also send a clear message to critics. He is ready to face any challenge that comes his way. However, if Penn State comes knocking with an irresistible offer, will he accept? Alabama arrives at the Iron Bowl under a narrative that repeats itself year after year. The Tide has everything to lose. It's a phrase that dominates the news like a warning, almost a sentence, but upon closer analysis, it lacks balance. History insists that wearing a helmet marked with the number 18 means carrying an oppressive legacy, transforming each duel into a test of survival. However, when we talk about Alabama, we're not talking about an apprehensive giant. We're talking about a program built for this kind of pressure, shaped by decades of big games, by coaches who love competitive chaos, and by athletes who came to these stages precisely because they don't fear the noise. The Iron Bowl doesn't emerge as a threat to the Crimson Tide, but as an opportunity, another chance to win big, another chance to confirm the superiority that numbers, achievements, and individual talent have sustained for years. The idea that Alabama faces Auburn with fear, like someone facing an inevitable dental appointment, is appealing as a metaphor, but unfair to reality. There's tension, of course, because rivalry without exposed nerves doesn't exist. But what appears as fear, I would call respect. Something any great team needs to carry when it steps onto a classic match. The Tide doesn't drag itself to the Iron Bowl to avoid damage. It arrives with a clear objective: to win, to impose itself, to pave the way to the SEC championship, and to remind the conference, the entire country, why Alabama is Alabama. The 5-6 Auburn team is described as a complete unknown, without a permanent coach, without a defined direction, incapable of promising any standard. Yes, it's true. Chaos has always found a comfortable home at Jordan-Hare Stadium, and the Iron Bowl has seen balls bounce to the improbable, has witnessed heroes who only existed for one night. But using the ghosts of 2013, 2017, or 2019 as an inevitable harbinger of doom ignores that college football changes, evolves, and demands context. Today, Alabama is the stronger team. Alabama is the team with a clear identity. Alabama has a solid coach, better prepared athletes, and tangible goals. The past is memory, and memory doesn't score points. Dbor makes this clear when he says it's necessary to simplify, prepare for the noise, prepare for the emotion. This isn't fear. This is professionalism. It's the speech of someone who understands that rivalry isn't played out in history, but snap by snap, and that respect doesn't diminish trust. It only reinforces it. Because while Auburn tries to figure out who it is, Alabama already knows exactly who it wants to be on Saturday night. The narrow stakes, 5.5 points, have become fuel for dramatic narratives, as if reflecting pure balance. But it can't be ignored that the Iron Bowl atmosphere tends to inflate predictions, and that many people bet on chaos simply out of tradition, not logic. And that's precisely where Alabama needs to enter with the coolness that sets it apart. The Tide knows these ghosts intimately. Kick six is a scar, Gravedigger is relief, and each memory serves as combustion, not as a break. A classic is only a classic because it hurts, but great teams learn from their wounds. And Alabama learned. They say the Tide only has to lose. I disagree. Alabama has a lot to gain. Gain morale, gain strength, gain narrative. Confirm that this year is not about survival. It's about solid reconstruction, about affirming a new era with the same winning DNA. With a 9-2 record, there's no room for stumbling, but there's room for greatness. The Iron Bowl is not a threat. It's a stage. And Alabama has never been a supporting player on that stage. What would you bet on? Zay Hall's commitment to Alabama isn't just another signing on the recruitment board. It's the story of a local talent who grew up hearing the roar of Bryant-Denny Stadium and is now preparing to wear the same uniform that illuminated his childhood. There's something special when a homegrown player chooses the Crimson Tide not for status, but for identification. Hall isn't just going to Alabama. He's going to where his story began. 3 stars in the rankings, but clearly 5 in terms of expectation and delivery. Hall arrives with the composure of someone who sees the game with eyes ahead, as if he reads the moves before the ball leaves the court. He'll sign in December, coming in early, without hesitation, like someone who knows that time is too valuable to waste. And if there's one place where linebackers become extensions of the defensive identity, that place is Tuscaloosa. He knows it, and that's why his decision carries a weight that can't be contained in recruitment numbers. Alabama has utilized its linebackers with elite versatility, and Hall has observed this firsthand. Not every recruit gets to witness Lawson, Jefferson, and Hill Green dictating the pace of a game and simultaneously absorb the idea that this will be their next environment, their next job. Kane Womack didn't build a defense that isolates functions. He formed a system where linebackers breathe the entire field. They move, read, anticipate, and disrupt. Hall saw this with his own eyes inside the stadium, within the atmosphere that pushes men to become competitive monsters. And when he speaks, it's not with the romanticism of a dreamer, but with the conviction of someone who is ready. Asterisk linebackers have to do everything. Asterisk, it's a phrase that defines the current Alabama team. It's not enough to tackle. You need to adjust the defensive line, command the secondary, create chaos, and, above all, understand the game as a physical chess match that never stops. Hall is not just a body. He's quick reading. He's explosive in traffic. He's sideline-to-sideline chasing. A modern linebacker with a constant engine and a sharp mind. The young man isn't afraid of responsibility. He says he can play all 3 positions in the rotation, and that doesn't sound arrogant. It sounds like someone who has studied the scheme, who understands the fluidity of the alignments, who knows where he can fit his own sound within the defensive symphony. In Alabama, it's not enough to participate. You have to be part of the unit's inner workings. Hall wants to be that, and he already speaks like someone who understands the machine. The most interesting thing, however, is what the recruit demonstrates beyond the field. He's building relationships, strengthening ties with the staff, learning, observing, getting closer to the group of linebackers that will soon be his. The future doesn't scare him. He awaits it. He wants to wear the helmet, wants to step onto the field daily, wants to feel like he belongs. And belonging isn't taught with tactics. It's felt, it's lived. Zay Hall arrives not only to reinforce, but to continue a defensive tradition that few programs in the country can claim with authority. He comes from home, made of the same clay that has already built champions, and is ready to accelerate his development with early enrollment. Alabama gains a linebacker who thinks fast, reacts fast, and, most importantly, sees himself within the system even before officially stepping onto campus. There are recruits who fill gaps. There are others who build continuity. Hall is the second type, the one who arrives to mold himself to Womack's scheme and, with time, perhaps redefine it. The Crimson Tide shows once again that the defensive future not only exists, it's already knocking on the door, ready to enter. Zay Hall is proof of that. I want to see your opinion now.